up? Okay, in this particular video, we are going to answer the question, how do you multiply and divide, or I should say, or divide, doesn't matter, rational expressions. So what we're going to do is actually build on the last video of simplifying rational expressions, because we're going to do that, of course, but we're going to add one little step, we're going to amp it up a little bit. So you have a graphic organizer. If not, just print it off. It's on the website. But you got 5 steps that we're going to fill out, that you're going to be able to fill out in your graphic organizer. And to the right of those 5 steps, you're going to see a little column, an open space that says example. Well, here's the example that we're actually going to do. So what you should do right now on your sheet of paper, on the graphic organizer, copy this example down, and I know it looks crazy, but you have 2x to the third minus 8x squared minus 24x all over x squared plus 5x plus 6. So there's that first rational expression. Woo. There is a second rational expression on the right, 2x squared minus 12x, and that is divided by x minus 3. So there's your second rational expression. And as you see, there is an operation between those two rational expressions. That operation is division. So I'm going to show you how to take this example, and again, it should be on the right side of your, where the example says up there at the top of your graphic organizer. I'm going to show you how to take this thing right here, we can erase it, sorry. Take this and rewrite it into that, this is crazy, into that particular form. Through these 5 steps, you will be able to do questions, any question like this. And as you see, I agree with this person, whoever's saying it. If it's you, good job. Whoa, this is going to be cool. And I agree with this other person that just said this. I heard you, I hear you. Let's do this. Let's do it. So here we go. Step number 1 on your graphic organizer, here is the deal. The question really, and if you notice this, it says step 1, it's if necessary. So the question is, are you dividing? If you're not dividing, then you skip this step. Okay? But in this example, we are, so we're going to do it. So if you're dividing, phenomenal. Here's what you do in step number 1. Write it in a little box that says step number 1. You're going to keep it, change it, flip it. So if you're dividing, you're going to keep it, change it, flip it. We also know this as multiplying by the reciprocal. You've heard this statement before. Division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. And here's what I mean, keep it, change it, flip it. And how does that roll? It rolls like this. What it means is you're going to take this first rational expression and you're going to keep it exactly as is. Nothing changes. So that means you're going to write down 2x to the third minus 8x squared minus 24x. All of that over x squared plus 5x plus 6. So you keep that rational expression exactly the same. And yes, you should be writing this on the example side of your graphic organizer. As we go, we're going to build on this, a running example I like to call it. So then you're going to change this. So this division changes to a multiplication. So we've kept it, we keep it, we change it, and then we flip it. Reciprocal, remember, means you take denominator and numerator and flip-flop them. So that means I'm going to flip-flop these two things, which means I'm going to write x minus 3 in the numerator and 2x squared minus 12x in the denominator. So that is step number 1, and you only do it if you're dividing. If you're not dividing, you don't keep it, change it, flip it. You just roll on, let it go. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, after we keep it, change it, flip it. You're going to see this running example, how it kind of works. Yeah, so here's what we just had. After we kept it, changed it, and flipped it. Step number 2. Notice it says, if necessary. Again, sometimes you might not need to do this step. If not, great, you skip it. But here is step 2 that goes in your box in the graphic organizer. You're going to factor out the GCF. Any and all GCFs, mind you. So we're going to really basically undistribute. And I've done that already for you. So you've taken this first expression, and there is a GCF in there. It's actually 2x. So I take that 2x and undistribute it. I factor out the GCF, and it becomes this. 2x, and then in parentheses that trinomial. Sweet. This one down here, there is no GCF to it, so phenomenal. Bam. It just stays the same. Over here to the top right, another little section, there's no GCF in that, so it stays the same. In the bottom right, there is a GCF. It's 2x. So I factor out the 2x, and I get 2x times the quantity of x minus 6. So basically, you're kind of compartmentalizing this example, or these rational expressions, and saying, well, here's a top one, top left, top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right. So it's 4 little questions that you have to kind of look at. Is there a GCF here? Is there a GCF here, GCF here, GCF here? And if there is, do it. So there's step number 2. So those first 2 are kind of only if necessary. And now we get to the mandatory ones. You got to do this no matter what. So here we go. Step 3 on your graphic organizer. It says factor tries and buys. Yes, that's right. Tries and buys. I know you can barely see the example back there because of my bicep. But, okay, let's get the math. Tries and buys. You're factoring all trinomials and all binomials as much as possible. That's what AMAP stands for, remember? As much as possible. So when I look at this particular example, again, we're running this example. It's what we had in the last slide. So we're going to take this trinomial right here and factor it. And I've already kind of done the work for you. Over here to the left, I'm doing my Xbox method. So A times C is negative 12. B is a negative 4, so I've got to think of 2 things that multiply to give me negative 12, that add to give me a negative 4. Well, that happens to be a negative 6 and a positive 2. So I've taken the negative 6, put it here, taken the 2 and put it there. So there is my factoring. The thing in blue is this trinomial right here, factored. So there's that one. Down here in the bottom, I'm going to look at it and say, well, can I factor it? Well, it's a trinomial, so therefore I can do my Xbox method. And actually this one goes into 2 and 3. So 2 goes here, 3 goes there. So that trinomial right there is factored. Check this one, check that one. Sweet. Over here, x minus 3. Well, I can't factor that one, so that one's already done. It's factored as much as possible already. And then down here, 2x and x minus 6. There's nothing else I can do with that one either. It's already factored as much as possible. Sweet. So there you go. Again, you have to compartmentalize it. Look at the top left. Anything you can factor, do it. Bottom left. Anything you can factor, do it. Top right, anything you can factor, do it. Bottom right, you got it. Anything you can factor, do it. So that's step 3. Roll on. We're getting there. This is awesome. I love it. Step 4. Here we go. Step 4, again, a non-negotiable. It's a mandatory step that you must do. You're going to multiply across the numerators. I don't mean cross, I mean across. So you take the numerators, 2x, x minus 6, x plus 2, and take that times x minus 3. This is by far, let me give you a little hint, this is the easiest step because all you're doing is rewriting it. Hope you heard that. So you take the numerators, and notice I just put them together. So it's 2x, x minus 6, x plus 2, and x minus 3. That's just multiplying across the numerators, and then you multiply across the denominators, and it just becomes this. So now we're setting up this ugly looking thing, of which in the next step you're going to see everything becomes very nice. So there's step number 4. And the last step, step number 5, let's do it. Step number 5 is this. You're going to match them up, like we talked about in the last video. Match them up, cross them off, and clean them up. Basically, we're just dividing out any common factors. Because remember, here's what we're doing. We have 2 times x minus 6 times x plus 2 times x plus x minus 3. Down here, these are all multiplied. There's a multiplication, there's a multiplication, there's a multiplication, there's a multiplication. So these are all factors, all of them. So I can match up my common factors on the top and the bottom. If there are any that's the same, cross them off. Well, let's see. The first thing I see is I see a 2 and a 2. Sweet. That's gone. I see an x and an x. That's sweet. That's gone. So they're out of there. Later. Peace. So I have, oh look, I have an x minus 6 and an x minus 6. Peace. That's gone too. Everything's disappearing. Oh no. I might disappear too. Watch. And I'm back. Okay, so if I keep going, here's an x plus 2. Here's an x plus 2. So that's disappeared as well. Now wait a minute. Do I have anything else that's the same? Well, I have an x minus 3 and an x plus 3. But you might be thinking, wait, I have an x and an x. They're the same. Careful, remember, this is grouped together. That whole thing in parentheses is the factor. They're not individual. That whole thing in parentheses is the factor. So there's nothing else I can do. That's it. So x minus 3 goes on top. X plus 3 goes on the bottom. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how she works. Love it. These questions are awesome. It's pulling together a bunch of stuff. And you guys are so ready for it. I can't wait to help you guys do it. It's awesome. So over here, notice that I agree with whoever this person said. That was way too easy. So there you go. Now we're going to practice some of these things. Let's do it.